Right, everybody, hello. Welcome to another battle report for the Wars of the Roses. But this is a special one because this is the first battle report for what is going to be our ongoing campaign. So, how did we get to this lovely looking village in the middle of nowhere with 2 river crossings? So I'm going to recap basically the campaign turns and how we've ended up where we are. Our campaign begins in 1460. The Lancastrians have the initiative, and for the first campaign turn, Matt decided that his Lancastrian forces would actually start to expand and try and take control of some other regions. The Earl of Northumberland moved to the Welsh Marches to try and put some control over that area of the map and increase the support there. They already have South Wales, so if he can take the Welsh Marches, then that will be a big help. Somerset and Exeter deployed together, so they are in a host, and they moved to Bristol to try and secure that town and port. Now, to control these areas, they have to stay on those locations, and at the end of the next campaign turn, they will turn red in Lancastrian. In response to this, the Yorkists didn't really do very much. Edward, who is in London, stayed put. He ordered Lord Hastings in East Anglia to move and join him, and they created a host. Lord Falkenberg, who is stationed in the Midlands, has just waited to see what the Lancastrians will do. Into turn 2 of 1460, and we're in the summer. And the Lancastrians are now holding their positions to keep control of those regions. Matt opted to pass, so none of his armies took any actions. At the end of his turn, the Welsh Marches and Bristol fell under Lancastrian control. Edward, now having seen what the Lancastrians were doing, decided he needed to expand his power base up north. So the host, which consisted of Edward and Hastings, have headed north to Yorkshire to try and bring his seat of control back under Yorkist power. So while they're moving north, he orders William Neville, Lord Falkenberg, to attack Northumberland in the newly acquired Lancastrian Welsh Marches. Falkenberg moves west. Now, because Northumberland was busy bringing that area under control, he could not counterattack as Falkenberg moved. So Northumberland is on the defensive. Falkenberg moves up from the south and he meets Northumberland. Now, for the sake of the campaign, we rolled up a scenario, and the scenario we rolled was capture the crossing, and that is how we find ourselves here. So I'll now explain a little bit about the scenario and what the objectives are. So, Northumberland has recently finished taking control of this region. So here's probably somewhere like Ludlow Castle, which was one of the main castles that controlled the Welsh Marches, was actually traditionally Yorkist. He gets news that Falkenberg is moving against him and he heads south. Not far outside of Ludlow is the village of Hopton, and at the village there are 2 crossings across the river. There is the main bridge that runs through the village. This is perfect for moving troops. Now there is a second crossing, and that is a ford to the south of the main bridge. Now this ford is used by drovers who are moving their cattle, so they don't actually have to run it through the village and risk any damage to property. So the objective for this game is to secure one or both of the crossings, and if possible, get a bridgehead on the opponent's side of the river. The Yorkists will be deploying to the south and west, and the Lancastrians will be deploying to the northeast. The objectives for the scenario: whoever controls the bridge at the end of the game will receive 3 victory points. Likewise, whoever controls the ford at the end of the game will receive 2 victory points. If you have a unit entirely in the opponent's side of the board at the end of the game, then you will receive 1 victory point. That's not 1 victory point per unit, it's just an additional victory point for getting your troops over and forming a bridgehead. For this scenario, we will only be receiving 1 victory point for shaken and routed or destroyed units at the end of the game. Capturing the bridges is fairly straightforward. If at the end of the turn you have a unit who is either on the bridge or who is within 5 inches of the center of the bridge and there are no enemy units nearby, then they take control of it. The bridge will be marked as being under your control and you can actually move away. The enemy will have to capture it from you. A couple of things to note with the bridges. Obviously, units cannot fight in line across the bridges. They will only be able to fit over these in a column formation. However, the men are assumed to be jostling for position and sort of trying to move around each other, and some might be trying to sneak around the bridge or underneath it. So when men are on the bridge and when men are on the ford, if there is fighting that actually takes place on those, they will fight at full efficiency. So that is, they will not suffer the normal modifiers for being in different formations. The village is split into a number of zones. We have one zone here with the small cottage, which is marked out by the wattle fence and the ground here, and it's bordered by the road. We have the village chapel over here. That's another zone. We have this zone here with the stables and the granary, and then we have the zone here with the inn. Now, basically, when you move into one of these zones, that counts as occupying a building. So a unit can move in, and then it can move freely within that. Its movement distances don't matter. It's considered to be occupying the whole area. Now, 2 units can occupy this cottage, 2 units can occupy the chapel and the graveyard, 2 units can occupy this area of land here with the stables and the stores, and 1 unit can occupy the area of the inn. If you want to move from area to area, so if a unit wants to move from the inn to this area here, then it will only take 1 successful order. We ignore the road and the men just cross over on 1 successful order. Likewise, over here, if you wanted to move from the chapel to this area, it would just take 1 successful order. While people are in these zones, they also count as being in cover. They're ducking and diving behind crates, they're moving things around, they're poking their heads out of windows. So for just simplicity's sake, if they're within any of these 4 built up zones, then they count as being obscured or in cover. Now, there are a couple of rules for deployment for this game. So we're going to roll off to see who deploys first. Then each of us can select 1 unit to be the vanguard of our force, and that unit can be deployed anywhere within your half of the table. So for the Yorkists, anywhere this side of the river, and the Lancastrians, anywhere that side of the river. They just cannot be placed within 5 inches of the bridge. So they could be occupying one half here, or they could be occupying an area over here. The rest of the forces are limited to a 12 centimeter by 12 centimeter in either the northwest corner, or sorry, the northeast corner, or the southwest corner of the board. Now, we only have 1 lord each in this game, as I've already said, Falkenberg versus Northumberland. So they are the army generals. We both have 6 force points to select our forces from, so we'll get deployed and then I'll roll through what we've taken for the battle. So just to recap, the nobles in each side are ones that we've used before, so if you've seen the last battle report, then you may remember their abilities, but I'm just going to go over them just so they're fresh. So the Yorkist commander is William Neville, Earl of Kent, also known as Lord Falkenberg. He has a strategy rating of 8. And a combat bonus of +2. So if he joins a unit, he just adds 2 to that unit's melee stat. He has a special rule, Reliable Commander. Units receiving orders from Falkenberg will add 1 to the strategy rating. So normally they'd need to roll 8 or less, it'll be 9 or less. He was a veteran of the 100 Years' War, well respected by his men, and this reflects that ability and experience. On the Lancastrian side, the forces are led by Henry Percy, Earl of Northumberland. He has a strategy rating of 8 as well, and also a combat bonus of +2, so they're both equal in that respect. His special rules are he has hatred for the Nevilles, which is handy because, of course, Falkenberg is a Neville. When Northumberland orders units to charge any unit commanded by a Neville, so that will be every unit on this battlefield, he may re-roll the result, but he has to keep the second result. So this is also a bit of a grudge match. The Percys and the Nevilles, they had a bit of a feud going, and it looks like we're going to be adding another battle to that tally. We're using our modified Hail Caesar lists along with the special rules for the leaders, and as well as the house rules that we've put in, which keep on expanding, which are things like cannons blowing up in your face and rules for bombards and cavalry. We're also, as you've probably realised, we're using our experimental campaign rules. If you want to have a look at sort of a bit of an overview of those rules, there's a link on the screen now, hopefully, that should take you to those, where I just have a bit of a ramble and just discuss what we're trying to achieve, and basically just have a bit of a run through. Right, we'll get on to deployment. Right, okay, so everything is deployed, and we're ready to start the Battle of Hopton Bridge. So the two vanguard units are, for Falkenberg, there is William Parr, who's leading some bill and bow, so they get to deploy further up the field. And for the Earl of Northumberland, we've got
John Rodden.
John Rodden. Is it bill and bow as well?
Yeah, that's bill and bow.
Okay, so you can kind of see how this is going to play out. We've got these two units are allowed to sort of advance deploy, and we've, as Matt said, we're kind of doing a chess thing.
Yep, I've countered Martin's deployment with the exact same deployment.
So this is going to be a bloodbath. And then we're kind of locked into our corners. So over here, you can see Northumberland leading his little host of men. So you've got Henry Percy at the front there. And then what have you got?
I've got 2 units of bill and bow, 3 units of foot knights, and I've modelled one as Trollope and the other one is Lord Roos.
Okay, so we've both basically got 6 points. So Matt's gone with 3 bill and bow and 3 men at arms. That's how you've costed yours out. I've gone with 3 bill and bow, 2 men at arms, and a squadron of light cavalry. So hopefully they're going to do something. I think it's either going to be really helpful or just terrible. So on my side, we've got Lord Falkenberg, William Neville. We have some bill and bow who are in the service of the Earl of Essex. We have the Earl of Essex himself over here, men at arms here led by Geoffrey Gate, and over here we just have a bill and bow. And I realised when I was actually putting these together that I don't have a single figure or unit painted in Falkenberg's livery. So I need to sort that out. So he's borrowing some red-coated Nevilles from his nephew, the Earl of Warwick. So now we're basically just going to roll off, and then the game will start as per normal. So just to sort of recap, 3 victory points for the bridge at the end of the game, 2 for the ford, 1 if you have a model in the opposing half, and then just 1 point for each enemy unit that is shaken or destroyed. It's 6 turns only, there's no rolling for a 7th. Might as well just get on with it. Okay, so that didn't go too badly for the Yorkists, for a change. We'll see. We'll see. Falkenberg, first of all, ordered William Parr to go as far up the road as he could, and William Parr has now marched onto the bridge. So he couldn't basically get all the way across, but if at the end of my turn he's still there, the Yorkists take control of it. So I probably will have control of it at the end of a turn, but I have got, who's this guy? Godden?
John Rodden.
John Rodden is going to clearly charge, so there's definitely going to be some violence on the bridge. I then ordered the light cavalry up, who have taken the ford and are attempting to circle round on Northumberland. The rest of the army didn't move quite as far. Both men-at-arms units over here only managed one move down the road, and I wanted to get this unit of Bill and Bow into this zone here with basically support, but that didn't work either. This unit of Bill and Bow, who were on the side of the hedge, have moved over the hedge and formed a line, so we can do some shots over the river. But that's it. So I don't think anyone's going to be in range for shooting. Oh no, that unit in the bridge will be able to take a pot shot, but I doubt it's going to do very much at all. So we'll have a look. Okay, so there is no shooting. We've decided that on the bridge there'll be no shooting because they can't get into formation properly to shoot, but there will be at full formation for fighting, and this unit here is out of range. Just to comment on something that happened in the last battle and that we've decided to kind of adopt. Where units try to retreat, if there is a unit behind them, they die. They basically just represent the crush, unless there's a clear path through that quarter. So if this unit had to retreat and there was a unit that ended here, then they could retreat through it. But if there is no way, it's not. We decided not to do it the way you would normally do it in Hail Caesar, which is they move as far as they can and risk disordering. They basically just get caught and killed, and the unit that they would go through has to take the disorder test as well, just because it has men running back into it and getting slaughtered by the enemy. Anyway, that's the end of Yorkist turn 1. The Yorkists have taken control of both the bridge and the ford, so now we're going to go into Lancastrian turn 1, and we're going to see what Northumberland's going to do. So that didn't go so well, did it?
Well, I mean, things happened.
Things happened. Well, basically, we might as well start over here because these are really the only things that did anything. So, as in Black Powder, in Hail Caesar, if you're within 12 inches of the enemy, you can make an initiative move. So, Matt, you decided to basically move into this zone. If you guys remember at the start of the battle report, I said that these zones count as if you're occupying a building, so formations don't really matter in there. So they've basically now occupied that, and they're going to, I assume, going to shoot at William Parr and the men on the bridge. Unfortunately, though, you tried to move. Who was it? Lord Roos.
Yeah.
Roos. That's this chap here, isn't it?
Yeah.
You tried to move him, and you failed, and then you failed the reroll. But because all of your men were in column, you basically still get to execute one order, be that a move or change formation. So the entire Lancastrian forces just change formation. And is that because of these guys?
They can smell horses.
They can smell horses that might be coming around the corner at some point. So basically that's it for Lancastrian turn 1 of movement. So we're just going to go into shooting, and I think you're going to try and pick some guys off on the bridge. I
think I am.
Lovely. All right, then we'll work that one out. Okay, so John Rodden is going to shoot at William Parr, who's crossing the bridge. They're within 12 inches, so there's no modifiers. The bridge does not afford any cover because they're just firing into a mass of men that are walking over it. So the Lancastrians are going to get 3 dice. They're hitting on 4s, and because they have the marksman ability, they can re-roll 1 dice. Okay, so you can re-roll the 1. So 3 hits, and I have to take a break test as well for the 6. Saves of 5 for the men on the bridge. So save 2, so 1 casualty and a break test. So the break test, anything but double 1. So a 10. So William Parr holds his ground. He's not even disordered, and they've taken their first casualty. So there's that helpful guy in Neville livery. So that is the first blood to Lancastrians, but that's also the end of Lancastrian turn 1. So we're going to Yorkist turn 2. Okay, so quite a bit of movement from the Yorkists, so I decided not to move William Parr. He's just securing the bridge at the moment. The Earl of Essex has moved up behind him to offer support. Falkenberg himself has moved up into this area here. Geoffrey Gate is continuing his slow plod up the road. I tried again to get these Bill and Bow into that small holding there, but they've just walked up to the wattle fence. This unit is taking position along the riverbank, so hopefully get some fire going in. And the light cavalry have moved round and formed a double line over on the Lancastrian flank. I did want them to go to the top of the hill, but I didn't quite get enough. So we're going to go into Yorkish shooting, and my unit here is going to be having a pop at John Rodden. Yep. Is right. I keep wanting to say Godden, but I think he's a horse trainer for Newmarket. So they're going to fire into there, but they are going to be suffering modifiers because it all counts as built up. Okay, so I'm -1 because I'm over 12 inches away, and -1 because they count as being in cover, so I'm looking for 6s. I can reroll 1. 1 6, so 1 save, and you have to take a break test. Right, just realised, so probably done it wrong for the last 3 battles. If you require a 6 to hit someone, then you don't automatically get them to take a break test on the roll of a 6. You then have to roll a further 6. So if I get another 6, he has to take a break test. Hey! 1 save of 4 because you're in a built-up area. So you saved it, and now it's just 2d6 for the break test. Oh, that might not be good. So they have to retreat disordered. So they have to leave this zone but away from the shooting enemy, which was over here. So basically, they've got to go 6 inches back out onto the road, disordered.
Could they go 6 inches from there?
Yep, because they count as occupying the whole building. So they're basically going to occupy basically where the dice tray is, I guess. And they're disordered. Right, so that's the end of my shooting. The Lancastrians are getting pushed back, so hopefully I'll be able to make good on this and keep them over there. So, going to Lancastrian turn 2. Northumberland managed to move everything. So Matt did a successful, basically, division order, and the whole lot managed to get 2 moves. They just moved up. So we've got Bill and Bow at the front, looking down this way at my light cavalry. We've also got Bill and Bow at the end of the street there, line up William Parr, and then we've got the 3 units of men-at-arms behind that. So it could be some nasty. Is it street fighting in a crappy little hamlet? Does that count as barnyard fighting?
Roads.
There is roads. Wicked. So we'll go into, what do you want to shoot with first? Because you've got 2 units. The disordered unit, they won't be able to shoot because they'd be shooting through. So what do you want to? Which one do you want to start with?
Start with them at
the light cavalry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so they're actually just out of range. However, these guys are well within range of William Parr. So they're going to get 3 dice, and they're going to be hitting on 4s. Rerolling 1 because I got marksman. Okay, so 1 hit so far. 2 hits, 2 saves of 5. 2 saves of 5. 2 saves. So that's the end of the Lancastrian turn. So we'll go into Yorkist turn 3, and I'm going to try and actually get my men over into the other half of the village and try and keep the nasty Lancastrians out of it. So we'll go Yorkist turn 3. Okay, so things didn't go according to plan. So, well, it did initially. So initially, William Parr was ordered to cross the bridge, and he did so quite successfully, and he has now occupied this zone here. So we can get another Yorkist unit in there, and then hopefully we'll have some hand-to-hand fighting. So they're in there. I then wanted William Parr, not William Parr, the Earl of Essex, to cross the bridge over here and basically form a line to block it. You'll notice that he hasn't done that. He hasn't crossed the bridge. I blundered. Well, actually, I rolled an 11. Then I re-rolled it, and then I rolled a 12. So he blundered, and we got the result drift left. So he drifted off into the graveyard just to go and have a look. And I don't know, just look at the architecture. Fortunately, I could still. That means, you know, that I can't move the rest of the division unless they're in column. So Geoffrey Gate got to continue his long march up to the bridge, looking with disdain at the Earl of Essex as he goes past him. And the unit that was here against the wattle fencing could make one move because they're in column, so they have occupied that area there. However, my horsemen are just over here still looking at the Lancastrians. So we'll go into Yorkish shooting. I'm going to get a couple of shots off, but... oh no, I won't actually, because that's my own unit. So they'll get to shoot, and that's it. So William Parr's unit is going to shoot at... That's not led by anyone in particular, is it? It's just some of Northumberland's household troops there. So they're within range, so it's going to be 3 dice, needing 4s to hit. Oh, 3 hits. 3 saves of 5. 3 casualties. Okay, so they're halfway to being shaken, and that is the sum total of everything that I wanted to do. I'm a bit annoyed because now I own the bridge, but I haven't got anyone on it. And the unit, that they're protecting it, but you technically can just move past them. Makes sense. So, we'll go into Lancastrian turn 3. Okay, so Matt's rolls got significantly better.
Yep.
Significantly. So, where should we start? Because this unit of Bill and Bow was within 12 inches of William Parr, they can make an initiative move, so they charged. So there's going to be a big old scrap in here. He's moved another unit of Bill and Bow in to join in the fight on this side, so they're actually engaged to the side of this unit, or offering support. Can't remember which. I think they're offering... I will sort that out. Trollope has moved up and taken position on the road. This unit of Bill and Bow have moved to the bottom of the hill, so they're going to be shooting at those archers. This unit of men-at-arms have moved up to the back of the bridge, which is about the only good thing that happened, was that they didn't manage to go as far as Matt wanted. But annoyingly, this unit, while these are engaged, this unit has slipped past, and that's Lord Roos, and he's basically contesting the bridge. The blunder that I had last turn is quite costly because I've got this unsupported unit in the village over there, and he's now making a play for the objective. Okay, so the only group that can shoot is this lot up here. That's John Rodden, isn't it? That's the guy who was on the bridge earlier. Yeah. So they are going to shoot at the light cavalry. So they're within 12 inches, so there's no modifiers. It's going to be 3 dice, hitting on 4s with 1 reroll if needed. Ooh, 1 reroll. Yeah, 1 hit. Light cavalry have a save of 6. No, so 1 casualty on the light cavalry. So there's no more shooting, so it's hand-to-hand combat. So, Matt, which unit do you want to roll your attacks for first? The one that's attacking the front or the flank?
I'll do front.
Do the front, so you're going to get 6 dice. You're +1 to hit because you charge, so you're hitting on 3s. I have 6 dice fighting back, but I'm -1 to hit because I'm engaged to my flank. As I said before, just in case this looks weird, this whole area counts as being an engagement. I know there's a house between the two of them, but it represents all of the men fighting in this area. I have to decide how to split my attacks. I can put no more than half of my attacks to the side. I'm going to go 3 and 3. So Matt's 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. Every single one. Then Matt's other 6 attacks to my flank. another 5, so 11 hits. Okay, so my 3 attacks against the unit to my front, I'm hitting on 5s. That's 2 hits on them, and my attacks to the unit to my flank, no hits. So Matt just needs 2 saves for the unit that I'm fighting to the front. He's saving on 5s, he just needs 2. So 2 casualties added to the 3 they've already got. They're getting close to their shaken. We've decided, we probably should have decided this earlier, but basically the cover bonus that you get for being in the built-up area doesn't count in the hand-to-hand combat. We just think that makes a little bit more sense. So I've got 11 saves of 5 to make, no rerolls. Oh, it's not. So 1, 2, 5. That wasn't awful. I just take 5 hits. So my unit is actually now shaken. There's all the dead of my unit. Matt had taken 2 casualties. I took 5 casualties, so the difference is 3. So my break test is 2d6 minus 3. And that is a result of 4. And I think I'm going to be retreating. And if I haven't got anywhere to retreat, they're dead. So, yeah, the result is a retreat disordered. I can't retreat over the bridge. I can't retreat out this way. The river is blocking my path. My men are just herded into the corner of the farmyard and just butchered. So well done. There you go. Yeah. That's things are back the way they should be. And I believe you're going to get to make some kind of consolidation move. So Matt's move upon victory has just been to consolidate, and even though it doesn't really matter where they are in the farmyard, they count as being in the same space. We've just put them out here. So he's basically got his 2 units occupying there, and I lost control of the other side of the river. So I've got some unsupported cavalry, and I'm probably going to lose that bridge. That bridge actually, because that's the end of the turn, that bridge is now turned Lancastrian. Okay, so York is now trying to assert itself. So Geoffrey Gate, for the first time, has actually done something. So he's charged onto the bridge and engaged with Roos. So that should be quite interesting. Managed to get the Earl of Essex over there, so he's actually acting in support. I've kept these 2 units of Bill and Bow where they are, so they can exchange fire with the people on the other side of the river. And the light cavalry managed to make an initiative charge against Rodden. I want to say Godden. Rodden. They gave closing fire and just caused 1 casualty on the unit. So we can have some hand-to-hand combat there. So we're going to go over to Yorkish shooting, and I will start with the Earl of Essex's men here, and they're just going to fire straight across at the guys there. Okay, so these guys are within 12 inches. The target counts as being within cover, so I'm -1. So I've got 3 dice, and I'm looking for 5s. Rerolling 1. Wow. Hey, 1 hit and a break test. No, I have to follow it with another 6, don't I? Fuck's sake. 1 save of 4 for +1 cover. Yep, so no casualty. Okay, so I move on to this unit here. Going to fire, and it's exactly the same. 3 dice, even 5s to hit. Nope. No, and reroll 1 for marksman. 1 hit, so that's a 6, followed by another 6 will be a break test. No, so again, 1 save of 4. No, so 1 casualty. To work out the light cavalry combat, I get 7 dice on the charge. Yeah, because it's a clash of 7. Matt gets 6 dice. I am going to be hitting on 3s because I charge, and Matt will be hitting on 4s. All but 1, so 6 hits. 3 hits. 3 saves of 6 for the cavalry. 1 save, so 2 casualties. 6 saves of 5 for the Lancastrians. Oh dear.
They've done very badly.
They've done very badly. So they are now shaken. The Lancastrians lost the combat by 4. So it's 2d6 minus 4 for their break test. Result of 5. I think they're going to be retreating disordered. So they've retreated up the hill, and I get to do a sweeping advance, and I'm just going to basically chase them and charge into them again and try and get rid of them. So we're going to fight a new round of combat. This could be quite nasty. So I have 7 dice hitting on freeze. All but 1, so 6 again. Matt has 6 attacks coming back, but because he's shaken, he's hitting on 5s. That's actually better than last time. Yep. You've got 4 hits. 4 saves to 6 for the light cavalry. Oh, 2, so 2 casualties. I believe I'm shaken as well now. 6 saves of 5 for the men. That's 5 more casualties on them.
I think
yeah, they go up to what casualties are on now, 11. So it's going to be a big old break test. Unlike black powder, there's no modifier for being shaken in this to break test. So it's 2d6 minus 3, 4. So that result was break if shaken. Basically my action, because I'm shaken, is just going to be to, I think all I can do is make a disorderly retreat. So I think I'll actually disorderly retreat back down the hill. I actually just realised because I'm shaken and because I'd already made a sweep in advance, I can't actually do that again. So the light cavalry are just going to stay there. So now we're just going to go and work out the big combat on the bridge. So Lord Roos, they're men-at-arms, so they have a clash of 7. Geoffrey Gate is men-at-arms as well, so they have a clash of 7. So I charged, so I'm hitting on 3s, and Matt is hitting on 4s. Okay, come on. And I get to re-roll 1 because they have tough fighters. That was originally a 3. So, all but 1.
I've got 7 dice.
7 dice, and you get to re-roll 1 miss as well. Looking for 4s. 3 hits. I get to make Essex support attacks, so I get 3 dice in support, and they are hitting on 4s. And they can re-roll 1 because they have tough fighters. 3 more hits. So the Yorkists are doing 3 saves of 4 or more, and they're stubborn, so they get to re-roll 1. Don't need to, all saved. 9 saves of 4, yeah. Re-rolling 1.
Bad. Yeah.
Okay, so you've saved 1, 2. So you've taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they are shaken, and you're rolling 2d6 minus 7 because I suffered no wounds. Probably don't need to tell you, but you need to get really, really high. Yeah, they're gone. Bye-bye. What happened to Lord Roos in reality?
He ran away and died.
Oh, well.
I got his head chopped off, I think.
Oh, well. So, basically, the typical Wars of Roses
yeah.
fit. Wicked. In that case, then, for my consolidation move, he's going to move over the bridge. So that's the state of things at the end of the Yorkist turn 4. So the cavalry have seen off a unit. Geoffrey Gates has seen off a unit, and now we're going to Lancastrian turn 4 and see if they can actually gain a foothold back on the bridge. Okay, so yeah, some Lancastrians did stuff. So what did they do? What happened?
I moved up to try and get the bridge again.
So they managed to make an initiative charge and engage Gate at the bottom of the bridge. You don't want Northumberland to join that combat? Don't want to join him?
Well, seeing as we're doing the campaign, I would like to keep Northumberland alive a lot longer.
So yeah, basically, if commanders are killed in this, we have a little table you can roll on after the battle to see if they're dead, captured, and available for ransom, or just they sneak away and suffer a bit of a damage to their reputation. You've left these guys in here, I assume, just to carry on their firefight with this lot.
Yep.
And these guys here hopped over the wall and formed up there, and Trollope has ignored the Yorkist cavalry because they're basically shaken and they can't do anything, and he's making a play for the ford. I've just got 1 unit there to see them off. So shooting, where do you want to start?
I'm going to have them fire on them.
Okay, so they're going to fire at the Earl of Essex. They're going to be within 12 inches. So it's going to be 3 dice hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1 miss. Oh dear.
Yep.
Oh.
Nothing.
So who's next? These guys?
Yeah, firing in.
Okay, so it's going to be 3 needing 4s, re-rolling 1. There you go, so you get to re-roll 1. I'm going to be taking a break test. 2 hits.
I get to roll that again, don't I?
No, because you didn't need a 6 to hit. So it's
yeah.
only if you need a 6 to hit that you then have to follow
Okay,
it up
cool.
with another 6. It's a bit like bolt action when you see if you've taken out the like someone of your choice. So I need 2 saves of 5. Nope, so 2 casualties, and I need to take a break test. Break test, 6 on a break test from a ranged attack. Okay, so I can hold my ground disordered or retreat in good order. I don't really want to retreat because I don't want to give up the ford, so I'm going to hold my ground disordered. And until I get some other disorder markers, I'm just going to turn that around to represent that. Okay, I think that's all Lancastrian shooting. So hand-to-hand combat over here. So there's no lord in there, is it? That's just a mass unit of men-at-arms. So you're going to get 7 dice, and you're going to be hitting on freeze because you charged. I get 7 dice. Again, even though they're in column, it's because they're on the bridge. We're working it out that way. I get 7 dice hitting on 4s. You can reroll 1. 5 hits. I'm hitting on 4s. Rerolling 1. 3 hits. 3 saves of 4, rerolling 1. You don't even need to. And I need 5 saves of 4, rerolling 1. Oh! 1 casualty, so I lost the combat by 1, so I'm taking a break test -1. 2d6 -1. 8, so 7. I think they hold their ground. Okay, so it was actually give ground in good order, and because they had room, they could. And Matt has followed up, and we're going to fight a second round of combat. So Matt gets 7 dice hitting on freeze again. You can reroll 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. I have 7 attacks going back, and I'm hitting on 4s, rerolling 1 miss. So I did 3 hits again. 3 saves of 4 for Matt, rerolling 1. Oh, come on. 1 casualty. 6 saves of 4 for me, re-rolling 1. Oh dear. Okay, so I take 4 casualties. So I'm not shaken, but I am taking a break test -3. So on 2d6 -3, I need really high. Yeah, they're gone. Jeffrey Gate's been destroyed. Okay, so that's the end of the Lancastrian turn. The bridge has turned back to Lancastrians. I've got the Earl of Essex there who might be able to come on, but I've got to sort this situation out down here by the ford. So we'll go into Yorkist turn 5. Okay, so that took a little bit of thinking, but the Earl of Essex has made an initiative charge into those men-at-arms again, so the bridge is just going backwards and forwards through different control. I was umming and ahhing about whether or not to put Falkenberg in the unit, but he only adds 2 dice to the combat, and I don't really want to risk losing a commander this early on in the campaign. So him and Northumberland are just staring at each other across the battlefield. I've left this unit in here just to basically see what I can do, and this was the hard decision. I've decided to move this unit of Bill and Bow onto the ford just to try and hold on to it for the next turn. So Matt will have to make a decision whether he's going to engage them or just shoot at them next turn. So we'll just have to see what happens. So we'll just go into Yorkish shooting. These guys can't shoot now because they're on the ford, but these guys can, and they are going to shoot at the unit opposite. So I'm within 12, so there's no minus there. I'm firing into a built-up area, so it's -1. So I'm looking for 5s, and I get to reroll 1 for marksman. Oh, 1 hit. 1 hit, so 1 save of 5. Okay, 1 more casualty on them. Right, so now we can sort out this hand-to-hand combat. So Essex charge, so he's going to get 7 dice. He's going to be hitting on 3s. Matt's going to have 7 dice fighting back, hitting on the 4s. I need a good big roll here. I get to reroll 1. That's 7 hits. Looking for 4s. Rerolling 1. 2 hits. I need 2 saves of 4, rerolling 1. Both saved. 7 saves of 4, rerolling 1. Oh dear.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So they're 7, they're shaken.
So they're shaken, so it's a break test. Minus 6. 2d6 minus 6. Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. Oh, the bridge is just like, there's so many dead. There's just another bridge here. It's just bodies.
Yeah.
They're all just floating down here. The Ford, we should just have loads of bodies just rolling down here. Okay, so Essex has taken bridge. Essex is, all he's going to do to consolidate is move to there. He's not going to make any kind of sweeping advance. He's just going to stand on the bridge, and hopefully that's now held for York. Okay, so that's the end of the Yorkist turn. Hopefully that's the bridge secure. So now it's just a hope. Well, we'll see, but it's the fight for the Ford. Okay, so the only stuff that happened is Andrew Trollope. It is Andrew, isn't it? Yeah, Andrew Trollope, former Yorkist who turned Lancastrian, has charged into the Bill and Bow on the Ford with an initiative move, and the Bill and Bow have used an initiative move to move in and support. Northumberland has scarpered away from the approaching Yorkists, and his unit of Bill and Bow in this part of the village is staying put. I think it's just going to carry on its little firefight with the guys over there. So, just into shooting. So, I assume they're going to shoot at these guys.
Yep.
Okay, so we know it's...
I can shoot at them.
Or you can shoot at Essex, actually, yeah.
Shoot at Essex.
Oh, no. If you make him run off that bridge... Well, it's Yorkist in a minute. All right, we'll see how it goes. So, you get 3 shots. You then don't count as being in cover on that bridge. So, it's 3 shots. Hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1 miss. I need to take a break test. Oh no. 3 saves of 4. Rerolling 1. So 2 saves, so 1 casualty and a break test. 2d6. Oh dear. So the options were to hold my ground, disorder, or retreat in good order. I'd rather be disordered and on the bridge than off of it. So that wasn't the end of the world. So just hand-to-hand combat now. A big one here. So Andrew Trollope gets, they're men at arms, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they get 7 dice hitting on 3s because they charged. I get 6 dice hitting on 4s. Okay, so you're hitting on 3s.
Hits.
Right, okay, all of them. 7 hits on me. Matt has supports as well. 3 dice hitting on 4s. There's no reroll on them, fortunately, so that's 9 hits overall. It's like a replay of what happened to you.
Yeah.
6 dice, and I'm hitting on 4s. It was a 1. So Matt needs 1 save of 4, which he can re-roll if he needs to. No, he's absolutely fine. It's nothing. I now need 7 saves of 5. Make that 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need more dice. 9 saves of 5 with no re-roll. Come on. Oh, I got some. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 casualties. I've already got 2, so I am now shaken. And I'm taking a break test. -5. Okay, 2d6 minus 5. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, so I give ground in good order, and then Matt can decide what he wants to do. Okay, so Matt has followed it up with a sweep in advance, and we're going to fight another round of combat. So Trollope's going to get 7 dice hitting on 3s again. I'm going to get 6 dice hitting on 5s now that I'm shaken with all those casualties. You can re-roll 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. I've got 6 going back. And I'm hitting on 5. So that's not so bad. 4 hits. 4 saves of 4, one of which can be re-rolled. Come on, at least 1 casualty would be nice. So 2 casualties. I need 6 saves of 5. It's 4 more casualties. So not enough to shatter me, but I am taking a break test -2. 2d6 -2. And the result is 7. So they're just going to give ground in good order again. They're not even disordered as a result of that. So That's quite helpful, but they are shaken. Okay, so this is the final positions of Lancastrian turn 5. The Lancastrians have gained the ford in support there. The Yorkists have basically got a bit of a shaken line going on over here, but they also own the bridge. So it's going to be the last Yorkist turn now. Okay, so I've ended that overhead just a little bit early, and that's simply because we're just finding out what shaking units could do. I was under the impression that they basically couldn't do anything, but actually all it is they can't charge. So this unit is a marauding unit, so they still test on an 8, and I'll check to see if there's any other morale bonuses, but they might actually just be able to sort of ride around the battlefield a little bit. Okay, so they do that, so I wanted them to ride all the way around to where Essex is, so they got that. So they get to move 36 inches. Okay, so the results from my command phase there were not very much. The cavalry troop have moved around there to meet up with Essex. Essex is disordered and can't do anything, so he's staying on the bridge. This unit of Bill and Bow are staying here, and they're going to be giving fire onto Trollope, and the unit that is shaken and had to retreat is going to be giving fire onto Trollope. I'm hopefully going to do enough damage on him or force him to retreat across the ford. So the Earl of Essex's unit is within 12. They're shooting. It's 4 or more to hit, and they can reroll 1 for marksman. That's 3 hits and a break test. That's 3 saves of 4, rerolling 1. 1 casualty and a break test. 7. I have a feeling you're going to be holding your ground. Yep, that was hold without penalty. My shaken unit is going to fire at them now, so that's going to be 3 dice, but they're going to be hitting on 5s because of the fact that they are shaken. Re-rolling 1. Nope. Oh, a 6. So it's a hit and a break test. So a save, 1 save of 4. Re-rolling it. So saved, and then just a straight up break test. 6. I think you're going to be holding your ground again.
Yep.
So it's hold your ground disordered, which all that means is that's where Trollope's going to stay next turn. There's no more hand-to-hand combat. So that is the end of all of the Yorkist turns. So we'll just have to see what Matt gets up to now. Okay, so that's a bit of a strange end. So Trollope, who was disordered in the last turn, couldn't do anything. These guys tried to move through and form a line there to shoot, but they didn't quite get enough successes, so they just ended up sort of bottlenecking behind him and therefore can't shoot. These guys charged the horse. The horse evaded and got a double 1 on their evade roll, and they're actually further away than that. We just can't move them off the board, and they pursued them. So there is actually no shooting because they're long gone. So that's actually a bit of this, but that is the end of the battle. So we just now need to work out the victory points and suss out who was the winner and make any rolls for the campaign. Right, okay, so that was a really good battle. You enjoy that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit different to the last one because there's just a lot less people, but very different. So the Yorkists have the bridge. That's 3 points, and they destroyed or shook 3 more for 6 points. Now we decided, because the light cavalry ran off the board and they were shaken, I think it's fair to say that they don't count as forming a bridgehead on the opposing side of the board, especially because they're being pursued off the table. Matt has the ford for 2 points, and he destroyed 2 units, which makes it 4, and I have 2 shaken units, which makes 6. So it's 6 apiece. It is an out-and-out draw. Now, in terms of our campaign on the map, that means that Falkenberg is going to retreat back to the Midlands, and it means that Northumberland is just going to stay in the Welsh Marches. So basically, there was no change to the map, but we got to have an awesome game.
Yeah.
We got to have an awesome game. So That would basically conclude campaign turn 2. So we've got one more turn left in 1460. And what I'll do in the video, I will summarise afterwards what happens on that turn. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. It was a bit different for us, and we will see you again in the next one, which will probably be a massive clash when people chase into Northumberland in the Midlands. So we will see you again next time. So, the battle results mean that Falkenberg has to fall back to the Midlands. Northumberland, however, retains the Welsh marches, and that brings to an end turn 2 of 1460. So into turn 3, and the Lancastrians still have the initiative, and Somerset and Exeter move to attack Falkenberg in the Midlands while he's recovering from his sortie against Northumberland. However, Falkenberg, as a reaction, elects to retreat to Yorkshire, also forming a free army host with Edward and Hastings. However, this counts as his action for the next turn, meaning that in the next turn the Yorkists will only be able to either pass or just move one army one node. Northumberland decides to go and lick his wounds and drum up support in London. So remember that both Northumberland and Falkenberg have lost 1 force point for taking part in the battle. Neither gained anything to their reputation. In the Yorkist turn, as already said, Falkenberg had used one of their actions, so Edward decides to leave York and heads to the West March to try and drum up some support in the northwest. I've just noticed that the Lancastrians have quite a few regions under their control, so the Yorkists need to step that up. Right, it's time for the yearly event. The Yorkists rolled and got result of 7, which is no event. The Lancastrians rolled and got a 5, which is rebellion. They roll a further d6 and they got a 5, which is actually defection. Randomly pick one of your lords and they suffer -1 active force point, while the closest enemy army receives +1 active force point as the men desert to the enemy. Now, Matt rolled and it was Northumberland. So not only has he lost some men in the battle, some of his men clearly weren't happy with his leadership in that battle and they jumped ship. So he's down to 4 force points. Okay, so now it's time for the upkeep phase and to pay the men. So the Lancastrians still have 18 active force points. So they need to pay 18 points of wealth from their 22, which leaves 4. And the Yorkists have 19 active force points. So they need to pay 19 points of wealth, which leaves 3. So at the end of 1460, the map has changed a fair bit. The Lancastrians hold the most regions and the south, but are the weaker faction, but only by a single point. So next time we're going to see how things develop in this campaign. We're into 1461, which was a big year for the Yorkists in history. Will it be in this campaign? I hope you guys have enjoyed this little bit of a different video. We're going to be doing the next one soon. If you've got any questions or any comments, please leave them below. And remember to like and subscribe if you want to catch the next video. Otherwise, we'll see you all again in the next one. Cheers.